Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza is brought to you by Sport Relay. Honest, unbiased, and apolitical. Sport Relay, your connection to the diamond. And by A Complete History of the Major League Baseball Playoffs, Volumes 1 and 2, by Edwin Thompson. Relive the glory. A Complete History of the Major League Baseball Playoffs.
From baseball's winter meetings in Orlando, Florida, it's another episode of Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza. Welcome to Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza. I'm your host, Edwin Thompson, Editor-in-Chief, National Writer, and Athletics Writer at Sport Relay. I also wrote 2 books, A Complete History of the Major League Baseball Playoffs, Volume 1, The Pre-Divisional Tiebreakers through 1976, and Volume 2, 1977 through 1984. Volume 2 it also includes the 1978 AL East tiebreaker game between the Yankees and Red Sox, also known as the Bucky Dent game, and the 1980 NL West tiebreaker between the Astros and Dodgers, also known as the Joe Niekro game. If you are interested in ordering a copy or 2 for the upcoming holiday season, there are links in the description box below this video. We are at the baseball winter meetings in Orlando, Florida. It's Wednesday early afternoon, shortly after the Rule 5 draft. Let's take a look at the latest news from the world of relief pitching. As covered in my article for Sport Relay, link in the description box below this video, the Los Angeles Dodgers pulled off a surprise move Tuesday morning, signing closer Edwin Diaz to a 3-year, $69 million contract. The average annual value of $23 million broke the relief record set by the deal Diaz just had with the Mets, one he opted out of the final 2 years of. Diaz was our 2025 National League Closer of the Year and also won the annual league-sanctioned Trevor Hoffman Award as 2025's Best National League Reliever. Here are Diaz's numbers from 2025 with the Mets. Note his microscopic whip of .859, his absurd goose egg to broken egg ratio of 11.7, 8.5 higher than the 2025 National League average, and his 87.1 scoreless outing percentage, nearly 15 percentage points higher than the National League average. Another big signing came last night when the Detroit Tigers re-signed co-closer Kyle Finnegan. With me to talk about that is, from MLB.com, Detroit Tigers beat writer Jason Beck. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
So first, let's talk about the terms of the contract. What did the Tigers give him?
So it's a 2-year deal worth $19 million. It's a big upgrade from the 1-year deal he had signed with the Nationals a year ago after being on tender. So he did quite well for himself. There was some debate whether he could get multiple years on the market, but I think the way the market was moving, it was going to take that to get him to set up a reunion.
Okay, is the deal stair-stepped or is it equal money each year?
I haven't seen the total breakdown yet since it's not official. I think it's going to be fairly equal. It's a straightforward contract, so it's not like there's an option or nothing like that. There should be some incentives in there, particularly when you're a reliever working in A.J. Hinch bullpen. There can be incentives built in based on games finished, based on saves, appearances, just the different ways that A.J. uses his bullpen. It's a way to account for that.
Okay, and will he still be a co-closer with Will Vest, or will one of them be set up, or is it too early to tell?
Too early to tell, but I suspect he'll do a little bit of everything. That was one of the things that A.J. loved about him after they brought him over. He did perform like the primary closing duties for like a little bit of a stretch there right after the trade, and then as they started preparing for the postseason, you saw him settle into an area where A.J. usually saved him for the highest leverage portion of the lineup, more so than the game. The toughest hitters, he wanted to have him in there generally, particularly with the right-handed hitters.
And we saw when Finnegan had to miss those games with the injury, the Tigers went into that tailspin. We saw how much they really missed him.
Yeah, it's just the pitch mix, the willingness to work in different spots, the ability to pitch in high leverage situations without showing a whole lot of stress, I think that made an impression on AJ, and I think it made a difference in the way the whole rest of that bullpen worked. It just, everything and everybody fit better when he was kind of in that somewhat versatile but specifically, high pressure role.
It's amazing how much one person can affect an entire pen, because we saw, for example, last year with the Diamondbacks early in the year when they had AJ Puck, they had a great pen, but once AJ got hurt, everything fell apart.
Yeah, and it's you see that in a lot, particularly in areas where different guys can mix and match. It usually takes one particular guy for the rest of the bullpen to revolve around. It doesn't necessarily have to be that set ninth inning closer to build a bridge to. It can be a guy who is specifically set up for the middle of the lineup or the top of the lineup, and then you build different guys around that in terms of how you deal with the 5, 6, 7 hitters or 7, 8, 9.
And then finally, so with Finnegan coming back, who all do the Tigers count on having next year in middle relief and in setup and in closing or co-closing?
Well, they're still looking for guys, and they're still going to need to make probably multiple signings or trades or waiver claims in order to set that group up, because they lost so much in free agency, and also when they got rid of Jason Foley and Alex Lang, that left a gap. Both at the major league level and in terms of depth. That's a lot of innings to fill. You can see the core group though. It's Finnegan, it's Will Vest, it's Tyler Holt, and then you build around those guys. They do have Brent Footer as that additional lefty. They could probably still use another guy there in terms of depth, maybe an optional guy. They do have some intriguing guys in the minor leagues. Jason Lee, who came up and made his debut, gives a different look with the sideline delivery. Dylan Smith, who made a big impression in a small sample size. I think they like him a lot. They should be able to produce some guys in the minor leagues, particularly with Tanner Pollock, who was in AA Erie near the end of the year. They like his different look. It's just a matter of getting him healthy and gaining 20 strikes on a consistent basis. He could be an intriguing piece. And then you look at some of the other, Tide Madden is pretty much on the normal course here after missing most of last season with injury. They're hoping to get him back as kind of a swing in action. And also, depending on what they do with the rotation, we could end up getting some of those guys who are at the back end of the rotation, then mixing into the bullpen. Maybe that's Troy Melton. Maybe that's some of the other guys that they got there.
All right. Well, thank you for coming by, Jason. Love to have you back.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Here you can see Finnegan's numbers with the Nationals. Note his 4.3 goose egg to broken egg ratio, 1.2 better than the National League average. But when he went to the Tigers, he flourished. Look at that whip, 722. And his 5.0 goose egg per broken egg ratio was nearly 2 full points higher than the AL average. Also note his 81.3 scoreless outing percentage, nearly a full 10 percentage points higher than the AL average. These combined for a great stat line for the year, though Finnegan and the Tigers probably would like to bring that inherited runner score percentage down, as it was over 13 percentage points higher than the American League average. Another deal that came at the winter meetings came quietly Tuesday night. Gregory Soto, who did not perform up to his usual standards in 2025 with the Mets, signed a one-year, $7.75 million contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He will most likely be used as a setup man for Pirates closer Dennis Santana, who finished third among National League closers in our 2025 rankings. Now let's take a look at the closers still available. The best available, at least according to the 25 performances, is National League saves leader Robert Suarez. Not anymore. Thursday morning, while I was in the air, flying from Orlando back home to Metro Phoenix, there were 3 relief pitcher deals, and one of them involved Suarez. The Atlanta Braves signed Robert Suarez to a 3-year, $45 million deal. He will make $13 million in 2026, and then $16 million in both 2027 and 2028.
He will be the setup man for Raisel Iglesias, who signed a one-year, $16 million contract with the Braves. It was a re-signing back in November. In the article written by Manny Rondhawa and Mark Bowman of MLB.com, they co-wrote it. Suarez was quoted as saying, quote, "I'm willing to do whatever needs to be done," end quote, about his new role. New Braves backup outfielder Mike Yastrzemski, who faced Suarez many times while Yastrzemski was with the San Francisco Giants and Suarez was with the San Diego Padres, is quoted in the article as saying this of Suarez, quote, "Absolute stud. Never a fun time when I saw him running in from the bullpen," end quote. Also signing with a new team was Mark Leiter Jr., who agreed to terms with the Athletics pending a physical. This is according to an article written by my colleague on the A's beat, Martin Gallegos of MLB.com. According to Jesse Rogers of ESPN, this contract will be a one-year contract worth $3 million. This move lines up with what A's general manager David Forst said Wednesday night on A's Cast, that he would like to add some experience to that relief unit. Leiter does have experience. He has been a setup man, notably with the New York Yankees. His role with the Athletics is not yet known for sure, especially because the team has yet to confirm the deal. However, he will probably be used in the back end. And the third move, this is a pair of moves, both by the Chicago Cubs. Hobie Milner, a left-handed side armor, 1 year, $3.75 million. Milner was the number 25 middle reliever in the American League in 2025 in this show's rankings. Also signing with the Cubs, Colin Snyder, a former Mariners right-hander, has signed a minor league deal with a non-roster spring training invite. Milner does have incentives in his contract. He pitched for Cubs manager Craig Counsell in Milwaukee with the Brewers from 2021 to 2023. Thank you to Jordan Bastia from MLB.com. He covers the Cubs for them, for writing such a great article on these two roster developments. Your information was greatly useful. Now back to the show.
He was followed by Sean Armstrong, veteran and likely Hall of Famer Kenley Jansen, and Pete Fairbanks. With Fairbanks being the youngest still available, and with him being 3 years younger than the next youngest, expect to see several teams bid for him. Here are the setup men still out there. Highest ranking goes to Luke Weaver, who finished 9th in the American League. Lowest ranking of those who qualified goes to Luis A. Garcia, who finished number 20 in the American League. There are also 5 on this board who did not pitch in enough games to qualify for our rankings, and 3 of these available setup men are lefties. Word around the winter meetings is that Tyler Rogers is generating a lot of interest. And finally, the best middle relievers still available. We've only listed players who were in the top 30 of their respective leagues. There are 4 available relievers who are in the top 10 of their respective leagues and 5 from the top 15. There are also 8 lefties on this list. Be sure to follow us for the latest updates, as we will have it all for you here. That concludes this installment of Reliever Roundup and Bullpen Bonanza from Sport Relay. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and also follow us on X, formerly Twitter, so you won't miss an episode at RRBB_show. And while you're waiting, check out the rest of the playlist for this show if you haven't yet. Reporting from the winter meetings in Orlando, Florida, I'm Evan Thompson. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Click subscribe so you'll never miss an episode of this show or of our other show, Trade Trees. Tell your friends and baseball contacts. If you haven't done so yet, consider buying my books, A Complete History of the Major League Baseball Playoffs, Volume 1 and Volume 2. There are links in the description box below this video. And finally, bookmark and regularly visit sportrelay.com. Until next time, this is Evan Thompson saying so long for now.